Well, Razorback fans, we did get some news on the Razorback basketball front. Another subtraction as Adou Thiero declares for the NBA draft. What does this mean for the Razorback roster? Let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday. It's the midway point of the week as we're going to talk about all the big three sports, not only with Razorback baseball taking care of business last night against an in-state opponent, but also some football. Bobby Petrino, got to hear from him, so we'll get into that in just a little bit. But, of course, the big news that happened yesterday at around noon, I guess it was 1:30-ish, was the fact that Adou Thiero, the Razorback forward, officially announced that he will be foregoing college eligibility and moving on to the NBA and declaring for the NBA. He put this message out on Instagram, so it was his own personal Instagram. I love how people say sources. Adou Thiero is committed, or Adou Thiero is declared for the NBA draft. It's like, well, his source is him because he posted it himself, but either way. I'm going to read his message because I think it's always important to have, when things like this happen, to portray the message that they want. But he said, Razorback Nation, so he addresses it to. I want to start by giving all glory to God for blessing me with the talent, strength, and opportunities to get me to this point. This decision comes after much thought and reflection, and I am incredibly grateful for the experiences that I've had throughout my journey. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the University of Arkansas, Coach Cal, staff, GAs, managers, teammates, fans, and all of Razorback Nation for their unwavering support and belief in me. The memories we've created and the lessons I've learned here will always hold a special place in my heart. I want to also thank my family and friends for being there for me and supporting me every step of the way, especially my mom and dad with how much they sacrificed to put my siblings and I in a better position to be successful. After a lot of hard work, dedication, and preparation, I am ready to take the next step in my career, and I can't wait to see where this journey ends. With that being said, I'd like to announce that I'm officially declaring for the 2025 NBA Draft, Adou Thiero. So there you have it. A lot of you who saw this post on Inside Arkansas Live when we were doing it, we got to react live to it. Some of you are asking about, oh, well, I mean, is he hiring an agent? Is it for sure him leaving? And I'll just say it this way. Yes, he's gone. It doesn't matter if he's hired an agent or not. Like, this is not just one of those deals where he puts it out there, tests the waters, and then comes back. Like, it's just not going to be that type of situation. He's done with his college basketball. He's done with playing at the University of Arkansas, and he's moving on to go pro. And I'm going to be honest. I am really happy for him. I'm really happy for him. Adou Thiero was a really fun player to talk about and to cover this year. I know that there was always ups and downs with everything, but the thing about him is he was just such a unique skill set. He's 6'8", 225 pounds. So just built like a truck. And because of him being 6'8", and because he weighed 220 pounds and, built the way that he was just a great athlete, but also a very physical player. A guy that could really do it all. If he went out to the perimeter and had to guard an outside shooter or anything like that, I felt good about it. Like it was like, oh no. And there was never a time of where I was like, this is a mismatch. This is going to be bad. Never felt that way. It was the same thing where if he had to guard a post player inside and someone, dished it in down low and he had to sit there and plant his feet and guard him. I had no problems with that. I had no problems with him driving to the hole and trying to get a basket. I had no problem with him, taking some spot up jump shots. Not to say that was perfect. Not to say that it was always the best situations for him and everything, but the guy did his thing. And I put it this way, which sounds like it's an insult because it depends on how you look at it. With this glass half full, glass half empty thing, it always depends on how you look at it. But when you look at Adou Thiero, averaged 15.1 points per game this year, 5.8 rebounds, 2 assists, and ended up shooting 54.5% from the field. Okay, he played in 27 games, starting in 26. I know he dealt with injury and everything. But here's the thing. He led the team in scoring on the season. You know what Adou Thiero is not? A scorer. No one's going to look at him and be like, oh, yeah, that's just a walking bucket. He can get his points in all different ways, shapes, and forms, all of that. He's not known for a scorer, but yet he led the team in scoring. So again, some of you who maybe look on the negative side says, well, that shows you how the Arkansas had no scorers if Adou Thiero is leading you in scoring. Sure, you could look at it that way, but here's how I choose to look at it. I choose to look at it as Adou Thiero being the leading scorer in spite of him not being that elite level scorer shows the type of player that he is, that he would go and get his however he needed to go and get it. He could shoot threes. He didn't shoot a lot of them, but he could shoot threes. He could get to the rack. He could go to the free throw line. He could get a dunk. He could get a layup. He could do so many different things. And because of that fact, he was able to create, and he was able to be that mismatch that nobody really knew how to handle, because you had to respect his ability to shoot, his ability to go downhill and get to the layup line, and to get offensive rebounds and all those things. Like, you had to respect all of that, but he still went out and performed. He still went out and took care of business. He only averaged 27.5 minutes per game. So what is it even like he was getting all these opportunities? He shot 54.5% and got 15 points per game. A lot of times it was rebounds, or a lot of times it was free throw line results there. A lot of times it was just getting dunks. He performed great against Kentucky on the road. He performed great in that Georgia game that broke the losing streak for Arkansas at home. And if there was ever a play that really summed up the type of player that he was, it was the very last play of that Georgia game, which I know a lot of you remember. Arkansas was up 1. And they had Adou Thiero at the free throw line. Time was pretty much up. It was like a second or so left. And he misses the free throw. Well, he gets his own rebound and dunks it home. When the Georgia players were standing there, he gets his own rebound, gets it over there, and gets the ball in the hoop. And then the game ends. Now, a lot of you are like, well, what does that matter? That didn't have any impact on the game because Arkansas would have won no matter what. True. But to me, again, it shows the type of player that he was. But if he shot a free throw and he missed it, he was going to find some other way to score. He was going to go and get his own rebound. He was making those types of plays to be able to put himself in that position, to be able to help the team out in every way. He's just the ultimate teammate, and a guy that always, spoke highly of the team and did all the right things. And I remember interviewing him after the Texas Tech game and Arkansas losing in the NCAA tournament, and he got to play a little bit in that. And listen, everybody's devastated and everybody's disappointed, but I remember he was so professional about everything. He was, DJ Wagner was, and, again, some people may take it as, well, they must have not cared enough of losing. No, it wasn't that. They did. But they also understood that part of this game, part of this thing that they do, is going to come with losses. It's going to come with disappointments. And at the end of the day, you still got to do your thing. You still have to be able to face it all. And I just thought he was the ultimate professional in everything that he did. So I wish him nothing but the best. I truly do. I would have loved to have had him back. But, he was a junior. He played 3 years of college basketball, 2 years at Kentucky, and of course the one at Arkansas. He got better and better and had his best year this year at Arkansas and got to really help out and set a foundation for it. So I don't know if he's going to get drafted. I don't know what this pro career is going to look like, but I know that I'm going to be rooting for him. I'm going to be paying attention to it. And I think that a lot of Razorback fans will as well. So now it becomes the next question of, okay, so what happens from here? Well, here's the thing, is Adou Thiero, as much as I love the guy, and he is a great player, I also am not going to sit here and try to act like, oh, well, you lost to Adou Thiero, season's over, there's no chance you can replace him. You're cooked, whatever. I'm not going to approach it that way. I'm going to look at it as, hey, there's still some options out there in the portal, or could end up potentially being in the portal, that could be that type of player and that type of replacement, quote unquote, for Adou Thiero. You can find a guy that is 6'7", 6'8", 220, 230 pounds, sheer athleticism. In fact, I saw that the Texas Tech player that Arkansas had some issues with and was really good, Darian Williams, he's entered into the portal. So, just a player like that or to that caliber, you can find a way. But I want to have, because I still think Brazil's coming back. I have no evidence of this. It's just my gut feeling. I think Brazil's coming back. I think Carter Knox is coming back. And those two players are kind of those wing players, those outside guys. I just want to see, and I'm sure Cal will do it, but going into a more of a physical guy, trying to find somebody that can be physical, that could be that Adou guy that could play. Again, if it switches off and has to guard a guard or has to go inside, he can do it all. But again, I hate to see him go, but I'm rooting for him. And hopefully everybody remembers Adou Thiero fondly when they think back to his time at Arkansas, because they went through it, and he was the leader on this team when it came to scoring, and he was in those clutch situations and those clutch games, and in a lot of these instances before he got hurt especially, he was one of the reasons why the Arkansas Razorbacks were able to turn it around and get things going in the right direction too. So good luck, Adou Thiero, and hopefully we hear from you here soon. Let's talk a little football. I know none of y'all want to do that, but we're going to, because Bobby Petrino had something to say that I thought was really interesting about the backup quarterback position. I know. Hang with me. Stay with me, because it's going to be interesting. We'll do that on the other side of the break. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order your products all online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, when you complete inventory over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always be able to talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Masters program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. So join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your very first order. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Spring football, spring practice is going on. Yes, folks, it is going on. And I know, I'm going to be honest about this. I know based on the views, based on the clicks, based on the responses and everything, spring football is very low on people's minds right now. It's basketball, portal, that's first and foremost. Baseball's there too, which I know we'll talk about. But football is still a thing. And Bobby Petrino, the Razorback offensive coordinator, entering into his second year as offensive coordinator, met with the media yesterday. And here's the thing about Bobby. I love Bobby Petrino. Y'all all know how I feel about Bobby Petrino, even though I'm not going to sit here and say he's just as good of a coach as he was 10, 15 years ago when he was here at Arkansas, because times have changed and everything. He's still always going to have a special place in my heart. And I just love hearing from him, because we don't get to hear from him very often. The coordinators especially don't get to hear from him. And when you talk about Bobby and hear from him, and if you watch that press conference, which you can on Inside Arkansas on the YouTube page, you hear him talk about all the players and what he thinks about them and everything. Just talking about wide receivers. We don't really have a lot of size back there as we once did last year, but we have a lot of players that we could just get them the ball and they end up making plays as soon as they get the ball in their hands. Like just the most basic stuff. But he did mention the backup quarterback position, because a lot of you are, always about the backup quarterback. I love Taylon Green, and I think Taylon Green's going to be great this season. Hopefully he has a good enough surrounding cast around him to be able to, make those improvements. But he was asked about the backup quarterback position, what he looks for, and I think that this is a great example of why Bobby Petrino is the mastermind in offense that he is, but especially with dealing quarterbacks. Take a listen.
I think the biggest thing that you have to do on a backup quarterback is really know what they can do. And then you limit what you practice, and you just try to get really good at what it is that you're good at. I thought that was the one thing that I knew last year is what Malachi's strengths were and what he was really good at and what he could excel at and make plays doing. And when he came in the game, that's all we did. So right now, we're giving him this whole offense, but we're trying to figure out, okay, this is what KJ is really good at. This is what Madden can do. Madden's a special talent now. He can really get the ball out of his hands. He sees stuff and has a great quick release. I know there's times when he drops back and he doesn't know what the play is, but somebody pops open and he can stick it and put it right on their hands. The last guy that I coached that did that a lot as a true freshman was Lamar Jackson. Where you don't see anything, but all of a sudden I throw a post for a touchdown and everyone's going, damn, how did he see that? It wasn't even in his progression. Now, we do need to get him to know the plays. There's no question about that. But that ability is something that, is hard to coach. And his vision is just something that's really good.
That was Bobby Petrino talking about Madden. And I'm going to just call him Madden because until I fully know how to pronounce his last name, that's all I'm going to know. But he is yours younger brother of the quarterback over at Tennessee. He was originally committed to UCLA. He was a 4-star quarterback of this past high school cycle and decided Arkansas was the place for him to be. So it was a really random recruiting because I know that with portal classes and everything, people look at the rankings, but the getting the quarterback from California like him, 4-star, just came out of nowhere, it felt like. So I'm going to be clear about it. I'm not saying that this guy, Madden, is for sure the second string backup quarterback. I'm not saying that because I think that you got to give respect to KJ Jackson, who I really like too. Dude's an able-bodied quarterback. I don't know who's going to end up being the backup, but I trust Bobby because it's Bobby Petrino. It's BMFP. He knows what he's doing. But his approach to it all was just so... It's what's made him good. One of my favorite times of when Bobby Petrino was coach here at Arkansas, and a lot of you remember it and bring it up, was when Ryan Mallett, rest in peace, went down with an injury against the number one or the eventual national champions, Auburn Tigers, and Cam Newton over there in Auburn. And I remember just thinking, oh man, this is bad because we haven't really seen much of Tyler Wilson, the backup. Well, Tyler comes in and just balls out. And I remember seeing that and seeing other examples, but that one was the biggest one that, hey, when it comes to quarterbacks, Bobby Petrino is always going to make sure that he has the backup, the third stringer, whoever it is, ready and able to utilize what they're really good at and make it work. And so it gets you a little bit excited about the possibilities of what this kid could be and what the quarterback situation could be if Taylor Green happens to have an injury or anything, which you never want to see, but let's just be honest. I mean, QB1s in college football, major college football, especially in the SEC, they're going to get banged up. They're going to have some injuries. It's just going to be part of it. So you have to have the backups ready, which is what Arkansas did with Malachi last year, Malachi Singleton against Tennessee. And you saw, hey, let's utilize him and put him in a position to be successful. And he was, and Arkansas beat Tennessee, and he led that drive. So I just love the approach that Petrino has, and him bringing up Lamar Jackson. Listen, Petrino, say what you want about the guy, but he's not this media savant that's always going to roll out and just make sure everyone knows, hey, I coach Lamar Jackson. I coach Lamar Jackson. Now, I'll bring it up. All of us will bring it up. We'll talk about it. But he's not the type that just brings it up willy-nilly. And so bringing up the fact that he hasn't seen a freshman be able to create and see things like Madden does since Lamar Jackson as a freshman is incredible to me. And if you listen to the full press conference, Bobby also went on into saying later into the press conference that Madden was farther along than most of the freshman quarterbacks that he's dealt with. So it's just a really cool thing to hear from. But it seems like the future is really bright on this kid. And to be able to have that creative, I don't want to call it the clutch gene because you got to see it in those clutch situations, but just to be able to create your own play. Like walking up to the line and then taking the snap and then not knowing what the play is. I feel like that's something that will really piss Bobby Petrino off, and you can't have it. But you can at least count on, like, hey, if it is the case and he doesn't know what the play is, he can find something. He's going to find somebody open. Somebody's going to be doing something and get it to him. Like that's the stuff that you want to hear about. And so we got to remember that even though if the football team and the football season doesn't have the juice and excitement that it has in previous years, there's still things to look at and there's still things to be interested in. And there's still reasons to believe that maybe, just maybe, it could end up being a really interesting and intriguing year for the Razorbacks. But one thing I did take from that press conference, though, is Bobby talking about the amount of turnover that they have on offense. He's never had this before. And that's maybe one thing that could be pretty concerning. So we'll see. But either way, I'm excited. I'm excited about the quarterback situation. I'm excited about Bobby. Anytime I hear from Bobby, it's always fun and just takes me back to the good old days. So we'll see how it plays out, though. But spring practice, still a thing. Still absolutely a thing. We'll talk about Razorback baseball, taking care of business against in-state foe Arkansas State in the midweek. So give us a little bit here because I want to talk about this one. So stay with us on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Razorback baseball still in full swing. They're the number one team in the country. I don't know if you all heard about it. It was in all the papers this morning. But Arkansas is the consensus, actually. Number one. That's right. Like, that's big time. That makes me extremely excited. Anytime that you're the number one team and you can kind of flex your muscles a little bit. But Arkansas is doing some great things right now. And they took care of business last night against Arkansas State 7-3. And, midweek games are whatever. Like, I know that Arkansas lost a midweek game this year. And anybody that freaks out about it or takes it into some crazy, like, oh, gosh, what does this mean? They need to wake up, blah, blah, blah. Stop. It's the midweek. Midweeks are for getting better. Midweeks are for getting opportunities to other players. The pitching is just going to be guys that you're trying to work through and develop. Like, that's what the midweeks are for. The SEC series are what matters the most. So if a team doesn't perform the greatest in a midweek game, in a random midweek game in April, it's not going to be the end of the world. But just Arkansas still finds ways to win. And, the pitching, we could sit here and talk about it because, you had McGuire, Bybee, Fisher, Carter, Gibbler, Wiggins all come in. McGuire struggled a little bit there. But, you had just an inning to everybody else, essentially. And Carter's the one that ends up getting the victory. But it's really about the hitting for me. Charles Davalan, that dude's hitting .410 on the season. And, folks, he is the best leadoff hitter Arkansas's ever had. I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to find a better one. He's the best leadoff hitter they've ever had. And his averages actually went down a little bit, but it's crazy. He goes 3 for 4 as a home run. He's batting .410. Okay? Cam Kojal. He only went 1 for 4. He's still batting .411. Okay. Even our guy Bowles gets in a little action in there because Logan Maxwell, I think he's dealing with a little bit of a stinger. He's going to be fine. But Bowles comes in there and he's been doing great. He goes 2 for 4, but he's batting .423 on this season. He's not the usual starter out there in right field and in the lineup, but at least count on him to still get his hits. But then you got Vahiva Aloy batting .360. Brent Iredale batting .327. Baby Kuhio Aloy, .371. Ryder Helfrich, .318. I mean, the numbers are great. This team knows how to hit. And this stretch that they're going to go through in SEC play is going to be a brutal. It's going to be brutal. Because you are going to be playing this weekend, for instance, Georgia, one of the top 5 teams in the country. Top 10 team, at least. So you're going to be going up against them. You're going to be going up against Texas, LSU, Tennessee, even Florida. I don't care what their record shows because they're not good, but they're still good enough to beat you. All of that, all of what Arkansas has done so far, being the number one team, you've done your job. You did what you're supposed to do. You've won every SEC series. You're flying high right now. But now it's when it gets real. Now is the time to be playing at another level. You got to kick it up a notch. Obviously, the most important thing is postseason, but you don't want to have this buildup of you doing everything you're supposed to do only to fall flat on your face once the real meat of the schedule starts coming up in the SEC. That's the last thing you want to do. So you got to showcase and you got to be able to go out there and still perform. That Ole Miss series win was a great one, and it looks better and better each week. But this is going to be the true test of deciding, all right, is this offense? Because, I mean, the pitching is pitching. I believe in the pitching. The pitching will come in there. But it's about the hitting. Is this hitting that we're seeing and have been seeing this year, is it real? Is it legitimate? Is it something to where you've just been teeing off on bad pitching? Or is it actually truly taking those next level steps to being the offense that it needs to be in order to win a national championship? That's what these next few weekends are going to decide and what's going to show us. So I think if you, in these next 5, folks, if you went 3-2 in those series, that's outstanding. That is outstanding. But let me be clear on this. You are going to lose at least one of these series. You're going to lose. You don't have to love it. You don't have to like it. But you are going to lose. Just prepare for that. It has nothing to do with Arkansas being a bad team. It has to do with it being baseball and going up against great teams. They just got to finish strong and show that they are for real. That's what they got to show me, not to show the world. Show me, show us. Show that these averages, these great offensive numbers that they're outputting, show us that it's real. Because these teams that you're going to be facing over the next 5 weekends are the same exact caliber teams that you're going to be facing in Omaha if you make it there. You got to get it done, and you got to showcase it. I love what you've done. Show me a little bit more. Give me that good stuff. So that way, I don't have to hear about it, and you don't have to hear about it. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in to the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel. Tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.